My name is Gabriel Kakon. I'm Gabriel Scott.
And I'm Scott Richler of Gabriel Scott. What we started is a company together many years ago that wasn't Gabriel Scott. We started building and designing furniture in a more bespoke fashion in about 2004, and since then have been working towards creating a line that we didn't know at the time what it would be, but in 2012 we did launch Gabriel Scott at the ICFF in New York, and since then we've been working on that brand.
We're also brothers-in-law.
Yeah.
Which helps.
That's the personal story.
Paint the story, the background. But yeah, we go way back. We have very similar and parallel backgrounds and education, both coming from backgrounds of architecture, industrial design, Scott in fashion design and jewelry. So that also comes into play when showing our collection and showing and presenting our brand. I think you get all of that in our pieces. In order to grow out of our local market, we really need to do products that are exportable and that can cater to a much wider audience. But in doing so, we also notice that our clients, designers and architects, trade people, do want a unique piece and something tailored. So, amongst others, in terms of material, in terms of aesthetic, in terms of background, modularity is something that we always try to introduce subconsciously in our product, so that although it is a well and a fine-tuned, engineered product, it could still always be altered or customized to really fit every particular project. So
but essentially that actually comes from the base of our design. Like even when it's almost subconscious, I think, because when we designed the first line in 2012, it wasn't as complex obviously as the line is now, or as populated as the line is now, but the first pieces were modular in their, like if you would deconstruct all the furniture that we made for the first collection, the series itself is it's a component-based system. So all of the tables and stools that were made for that first collection are all modular to a certain extent. They're systematic in their composition. So we tried to take like that sort of bespoke aesthetic and then import it into like or reverse actually, take a bespoke aesthetic and apply a modular system to it. I would make new things every day, if I could. That's the difference.
I wouldn't.
There's a familiarity I have with certain materials. Like I'm very familiar from many years of working with brass and steel and processes that involve brass and steel. So if you were to ask me the question for the next 3 years, none of those would be the materials, because I would want to do something new. We've begun to work a lot with glass, different methods of working with glass, like some that are very labor intensive, and so I would probably say something like that, something that involves glass, casting it, blowing glass, mold blowing, polishing, cutting. So yeah, I would go to something new, because I know a lot about those other materials.
My answer touches on what Scott was saying before about wanting to do new stuff all the time and me not wanting to. So my answer would actually be metal, because it is something that I am familiar with and is always the first part of the design process. In terms of our product, it's there. I mean, it's something that is predominant, and a lot of the processes that we do, it all touches on metal. So if it's laser cutting or machining or plating, it's something I'm familiar with, and something that I would almost play the safe route in continuing with that, which I think again lends itself to the comment of a kind of complementary relationship where one pulls one way, the other pulls the other, and there's this kind of common ground that works for us and works for our business, and I think has worked well for the growth of this business. I can fly. I don't know. I don't know. My superpower, I would say, is communication. In our business, is communication. And in many ways. If it's visual communication, if it's presentation, if it's communication to our clients, to our team, to our staff, I think that would really hit it on the nose.
I get bored, so I get inspired by something else. I get curious. And I do that also, I'll be perfectly honest, I do that when I see other people's work. I get curious, and so I don't, like, I get inspired, I tend to get inspired by things that are not in my immediate industry. Like, I get inspired more by art, sculpture, and installation work, and that sort of stuff, jewelry, and fashion. So I'll borrow that from other places, but when I look at other people's work in our industry, I immediately get, oh wow, they did that, oh they did that. So I have that kind of mind that just kind of like flickers among different things. But so it's where it's a weakness, maybe it's a strength, because I'll always be thinking of something new.